2020 sure did teach us a lot. Some things we didn't want to learn necessarily, but one thing it taught us was that having trust in something is so important. Those scammers showed up big time. That's where the Better Business Bureau and the Torch Awards come in. Rick is here from the Better Business Bureau. He's going to explain what the Torch Awards are. We're going to tell you who one of the awards winners is. So let's start with, what are the Torch Awards?
Well, Charity, you have some insider familiarity with the BBB, and the BBB as a brand has been around for over 107 years. Our local office has been open now for 100 years. We're celebrating our 100th anniversary. I think BBB is pretty well known as a standard bearer for marketplace trust. We want to create an environment where consumers and businesses can trust each other. And so we're kind of well known for our complaint resolution process, for things that we do to help the community be protected from the scammers that you mentioned. But probably one of the lesser known things we do is we want to celebrate those businesses that are doing it right. And the Torch Awards is a means by which we do that. This is actually our 15th year for the Torch Awards. So we want to draw attention to businesses that have exhibited exemplary ethical business practices in service to their communities, their customers, their peers, and the communities in general.
Well, let's talk about, you're able to do this because of some great sponsors. Sponsors like Paul Davis, Sweetwater, Momper Insulation, Preferred, New Haven Print, Indiana Wesleyan University, our friends over at Wayne Channel 15. And really, you couldn't do it without these great businesses, too. They've been a fantastic help.
Absolutely. We're fortunate that we're in a community that really gives back and that recognizes the value that the BBB brings. So we very much want to show our appreciation for these sponsors. And
you mentioned, I do have some familiarity because I do sit on one of your boards, the C&E board, and I think that has given me the opportunity to see that when we think of the BBB, sometimes we just think of, it's where I go to look. I go to look and see if a business has complaints against it. Sometimes I don't think people realize what all the Better Business Bureau does. You do a lot of things. You give scholarships to kids, to students of integrity. You give these Torch Awards out. You're advocating for businesses. You're really doing a lot for our community.
We really do. Like you said, I think we've been around for a long time, and people generally recognize the BBB brand, but really don't know everything that it is that we do.
Absolutely. Well, one of these winners that we want to honor is the integrity, or the entrepreneur of integrity, and it's Stream.
Indeed.
People who have watched Insight before may recognize that because both Anne-Marie and Jack, who you see here, have been on Insight before as part of the NIC, which is kind of where one of the resources they've used. So let's talk a little bit about Stream.
Sure. And like I said, you're familiar with them. They're an interesting business model, not the conventional type of business. And like I said, their name of the company is Stream.
I had to ask how to pronounce it.
Right, so did I. STRE.me, which is also their URL or their web address. And they're a unique software firm, like I said, developed here in Fort Wayne by Jack Patton and Anne-Marie Lebenberg. And they seek to improve patient outcomes and hospital profitability by tackling the $270 billion spent annually in healthcare on premature deaths and avoidable healthcare costs. Stream has a very simple premise, and that is that everyone has implicit biases. And that's whether you're a mechanic, a teacher, a doctor, you and me. We all have biases, and there's no way to eliminate them. But what Stream does is they enable HR and diversity leaders to rapidly deploy individualized bias education on a software platform where users learn how to manage implicit biases and to improve their communication, their decision-making, and their interaction with others, all while being held accountable for implementing that software, for implementing what they learn. So we're really honored to present the Stream folks with the award this year. Now, unfortunately,
they're not here because they're speaking, and we're showing the next award. This is what they got, except they have theirs already because they couldn't be here. They're not here because they're speakers. I want to not mess this up. They are the exclusive Techstar Social Impact. They at the exclusive Techstar Social Impact Accelerator. It just shows that what they're doing is so very cool, and they are at the forefront of what is a growing industry. It's really fascinating what they do.
It really is, and I'm sure my understanding of what they do is about this much. But
mine is smaller than that, but yes, it's amazing.
They're fascinating people to talk to, and we want to engage with them, after they get through this and we get through this, and see where we can maybe collaborate on some issues. But
absolutely,
great folks, and like you said, the tech conference that they're at is the second-rated tech conference in the world. So it's big time. We're very proud of them.
Well, congratulations to Stream. They're doing great things. And I think as entrepreneurs, there's probably, it would be easy to maybe take the easier road, but they have not done that. They make sure that they take the high road, and that road of ethical and high integrity. We appreciate everything they do. Coming up next, we want to introduce you to the Individual of Integrity Award winner. We'll do that when we come back. The Torch Awards don't just honor businesses, they also look each year to honor an individual of integrity. Rick and I are joined now by this year's Individual of Integrity Award winner. The director asked me earlier, is it a surprise? Should I not put up the slate that has his name on it? And I said, no, it's okay, Mark already knows. It's all right, it's not a secret, it's not a secret. We couldn't keep a secret from you if we tried.
Well, I did get an announcement on it. So
you saw the email? You were copied on the email? Rick, tell us about Mark and why he's the Individual of Integrity Award winner.
Well, kind of like yourself, Charity, with your involvement with BBB, we also have a great personal connection with Mark. Mark has been the board chair of our Charitable and Educational Foundation now for 5 years. So we go back quite a long way with him, and it's been a joy and a pleasure working with Mark and getting his advice and counsel along the way. So it's been a good relationship. We're very happy to present the award to you this year, Mark.
What does that mean, Mark, for you to receive? You're just recently retired from Cuesta, enjoying the retirement life. I'm sure you are.
Most of the time.
I was going to say, knowing...
With this pandemic, it makes it a very different experience.
What does it mean to you to receive the Individual of Integrity Award?
Well, first of all, it humbles you, because there's really a number of folks that have gotten this award, and they create very big footprints because of what they've done. So just to be able to follow in that and try to follow in what people have done, it's really exciting to get acknowledged for integrity. I mean, because when you get right down to it, it's about being honest, it's about what you do, how you live your life, it's about your values and principles. And what's guided me along, and why I've really enjoyed being on the foundation board and the BBB board, is that there's a difference between kind of the attitude of what's in it for me, versus at least what's in it for us, which would be the kind of the common good, that whether it be your family or your organization, and then really focusing in on the greater good, which is what's best for all of us. And when you get into that aspect, oftentimes you're really giving up something for the greater good. You're not getting it all for yourself, but that's really when you talk about having been on the other side, giving the Integrity Awards, you're looking at organizations in this community, across the community, and people across the community that really have integrity, and they are thinking about the greater good. They're willing, if you've got a problem with a product, they're going to come and help to resolve it. You know, now we do get some complaints, but the reality is that none of us do everything perfect.
Right. Nobody's
It's
perfect.
how we handle that, and that's really the vantage point of being a part of the foundation board.
Absolutely.
Is to really meet people and to see people and businesses that go that extra yard, go that extra mile, in many cases, to be able to make things right.
Absolutely. Well, Marjorie was not able to be with us
and I've
today.
got a couple comments from Marjorie.
I have my reading glasses. Do you need them, or can you read Marjorie's comments?
I'm
okay.
good. So
You're
as you
younger than I am, so.
Yeah, I'm sure that's true. Well, you know, Marjorie, our CEO, couldn't be here, so she asked me to read a couple comments that she made, and she basically said, you know, Mark was board chair of our Charitable and Educational Foundation before his retirement in this past June. He's the essence of a devoted board member to the mission of our foundation and to the BBB in general. Mark was an excellent mentor to me as a new CEO, and his wisdom, understanding, and passion for the nonprofit world is deep. He has a compassionate heart for those whose voices are not often heard. Mark was a huge supporter of the Torch Award program and even bigger champion of our Student Scholarship Awards. Mark more than deserves the honor and recognition as BBB's Individual of Integrity. And as I mentioned, that Mark has been both a friend and advisor to Marjorie and myself for a number of years, and we appreciate everything you've done, and we'll miss you.
Absolutely.
But you're very deserving
Thank
of the
you.
award.
Thank you very much.
We are glad and honored to present this award to you. Thank you for everything you have done for the Better Business Bureau, for the C&E Board, and thank you for all the integrity that you've shown and that you've taught the rest of us. We really appreciate it.
Well, it was great to serve on the BBB board as well as the foundation board, but it's especially because of the people you get to work with and get to know. Oftentimes your paths would not have even crossed.
Absolutely. Well, we want to recognize a charity of integrity, not me. I mean a nonprofit charity of integrity, and we will do that next. During 2020, nonprofits were hit hard. It was vital for the charities in our community that we continued to give and support them. And trust and integrity are such important factors for us as we look to do that. The Torch Awards want to celebrate that standard with the Charity of Integrity Award. Rick and I are joined now by Aisha from the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. You've been here before.
Yes, I have.
And in fact, she's going to be here next month because we're going to talk about PJ Drive next month.
Very good.
Bring your PJs, Rick. But let's talk about the Ombudsman Long-Term Care Program. No, I messed it up that time.
It's easier just to say LTC Ombudsman Program. We give you a little shorter version there.
Thank you.
Yes.
For people who don't know, Aisha, tell us what that is.
Ombudsman is a Swedish word that just means citizen's representative. And as a long-term care ombudsman, our goal is to advocate for better care for our neighbors living in our area nursing homes. So obviously during the pandemic, we were serving a population of people that were hit very hard, which made our work even that much more difficult.
Why is it important, Rick, that we celebrate what they do?
Well, I mean, I think Aisha kind of summed it up there. Their organization gives voice to those that don't have a voice. And we've heard so many things, even recent news with things going on in New York, that I think it really draws attention to how valuable the service is that you provide. And in your application, you actually detailed an instance where the LTC staff worked hard to keep an elderly married couple together in the same room in their nursing home. And again, you know, on a large scale, maybe that is not important, but it sure was important to those people that you were advocating for.
Yeah.
And we think we need that in our communities and in our world. So we certainly appreciate what you do and want to acknowledge you as being our 2020 we give Torch Awards for Long-Term Care Ombudsman for our Charity of Integrity.
Yes, thank you, thank you. And I just have to say, it was just a huge encouragement for us. One, I did a little leap of joy in the office, but I was alone when I found out that we won, so no embarrassment. But two, it just encouraged our staff to keep doing the good that we're trying to do. Advocacy is hard work, and we don't do that to be acknowledged, but to be acknowledged just encourages us to keep going on. So we really do appreciate it.
Thanks for bringing that up. I think that's important to bring up that, you know, we have talked about how important it is for all of us to put our money where our mouth is and keep supporting our nonprofits during the pandemic and how much they need that because all the fundraisers and all those things have been curtailed, really. But you know what? You need those words of encouragement, too.
Absolutely.
This has been hard. It's been really hard on all of us, our mental and emotional states. And so I would just encourage anyone watching to reach out to that charity and that nonprofit that you know is doing good work in our community and give them that pat on the back. Send them that note of encouragement.
Yeah. It goes a long way. It goes a long way.
And the financial support's always good, too.
Yes.
And she'll take your money, too.
Yes, I will.
And I want to mention that Marjorie, again, who's not with us today, is a proud director of your organization.
Yeah, board member, proud board member.
And wanted me to say a special thank you and congratulations for the work that you and your organization do.
We do love the work you do. And make sure you keep watching Insight because we're going to tell you about their PJ Drive and how you can help them out coming up next month. We'll be right back. I think what people think of first when they hear the BBB is businesses and a reference resource for checking on businesses. The final award we want to present today is the Business of Integrity Award. Rick and I are proud to celebrate Wired Communications, this year's Business of Integrity Award. Let's tell people a little bit about Wired Communications.
Yeah, Wired is, they had an interesting ethical dilemma back in 2009 during the last economic recession. And they were I guess they started up in 2008, and 2009 hit, it created some problems for them. And it forced the company to take on additional debt load. And in the process, they needed to have their employees take a 10% reduction in their pay to help the company get through all its difficulties. So once the company began to recover, the wages were restored to 100% over time, and the company even paid back the lost wages to the employees that were still on staff with them. And now the company's been around for quite some time, and they're enjoying their best and most profitable years to date. And we think the way they handled it with their employees is exemplary, because like I said, we talked in the beginning that we celebrate ethics for businesses in the way they deal with the community in general, their employees, their industries, their customers, and we think it's very commendable.
I love, too, that they're doing so well now, because it just shows that when you do the right thing, good things happen.
Absolutely, and I think, maybe since you are on the judge on the panel,
that's a secret. No, I'm just kidding.
You might be able to speak to that, and that's, like I said, the interesting thing is, like I said, you have that inside connection. You might be able to speak from the judge's standpoint on what it's been like for you.
Well, and it was very interesting to read through all. I'm telling you, we could have chosen any of the nominees as the winners, and it was refreshing to read all of the nominations, because it's just good to see all of the people in our community with such great business practices. And whether it was an ethical dilemma that they then conquered, whether it was standards that they've put in place that are high ethical integrity standards, all of these things, it's just as good to know that we have such good people running businesses and giving back to our community.
And I'm sure that those employees that are still with them certainly appreciate the actions that they took. So
it's just good to know. It makes our community better. And I was thrilled to be a judge, as I know the other judges were too. We're glad to do that. Hey, people do you have the other judges'
Speaking
names?
of judges, we should certainly make sure we thank all of our judges. They're Andy Hines-Legeman from Elevate Northeast. We have Shelley Kepler from Paul Davis Restoration, Amy Kill from the Better Business Bureau, Sarah Arnold from Socially Seasoned, and Charity Freeman from WPTA.
I don't know that girl. Let's tell people how they can, the 2021 Torch Awards are going to happen before we know it. So in April, just a few short months, those nominations will open. People can nominate till July, and then in October, we will announce the 2021 Torch Awards. So I would just say be watching for people doing the right thing.
Sure. And for the Torch Award presentation next year, we're going to have a new twist to it, which we'll be talking about here in the near future.
Oh.
That should be fun. And businesses can nominate themselves. They can nominate other businesses, and individuals can nominate other businesses as well. So you just go to bbb.org to find out the process, and we welcome those registrations.
Now's the time. Go and be ready. Be looking, make your notes so that when those nominations open up in April, you can make your nominations for people doing the right thing. We'll be right back.